Though Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia was a major part of Star Wars' original success, it's time for the character to be recast, especially with Ahsoka Season 2 in development. Carrie Fisher's legacy as Leia Organa is undeniable. In 1977, when the original Star Wars film was released, she was a trailblazer. Leia may have been a princess, but she was the opposite of a damsel in distress, a massive shift in pop culture for that time. Fisher was a brilliant writer and understood her character better than anyone. That dedication always shone on screen. After Fisher's untimely passing in December 2016, how the franchise would move on without her became an emotionally charged discussion. Fisher's Leia had already filmed her scenes for Star Wars: The Last Jedi, but for the final installment, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, Lucasfilm made the understandable decision not to recast the character, instead piecing her minor role together from previously shot footage. However, as Star Wars storytelling expands, especially in the New Republic era, Leia's absence is becoming harder to ignore, and the franchise shouldn't have to hide her. Ahsoka Season 2 is set in Leia's golden age. Ahsoka Season 2 will be set during the height of the New Republic era. Whereas Ahsoka Season 1 only needed to include scenes of the New Republic's government once or twice, this aspect will be much harder to ignore in Season 2, as the threat of Grand Admiral Thrawn's return has become a reality. General Hera Syndulla and the newly returned Ezra Bridger will need all the help they can get in the fight against the Imperial Remnant, and Leia Organa, more than anyone, will understand what's at stake if the New Republic doesn't respond. We know that some of Leia's closest allies are involved in Ahsoka Season 2. The original trilogy's Admiral Akbar was confirmed for Ahsoka Season 2 at Star Wars Celebration 2025, and it was implied that the Rebel Alliance leader would be spearheading the New Republic's efforts against Thrawn. Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma had a brief cameo in Season 1 and will, presumably, turn up again in Season 2. So, where is Leia in all this? She's a leading New Republic senator. Her presence is an important part of the transition between the Imperial Remnant and the First Order. Leia even had a behind-the-scenes role in Ahsoka Season 1, as she helped Hera Syndulla and Captain Carson Teva on their mission to prevent Thrawn's return after her colleagues denied Syndulla's initial request. She later protected Syndulla from the repercussions of disobeying direct orders, sending C-3PO to represent her interests in her stead. Leia is everywhere during this slice of the Star Wars timeline. The character deserves to be a part of Ahsoka Season 2 and the wider New Republic story, even if this does mean recasting Leia Organa after Carrie Fisher's tragic passing. Will Lucasfilm be brave enough to take that step? Why has Star Wars been so afraid to recast Princess Leia? Star Wars' initial hesitation to recast Princess Leia's role was understandable. It's an issue of respect, of course. Carrie Fisher was such an integral and inextricable part of Star Wars' success and legacy, and her death was so sudden. Using other actresses to portray her in minor moments, such as the one in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and when Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, briefly portrayed a younger version of her mother's character in The Rise of Skywalker, is one thing. Recasting the character entirely for a pivotal, major part is another. Of course, we can't forget that Leia was, in a sense, already recast when Vivian Lyra Blair took on the part of a much younger Princess Leia in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Since then, Blair has been adamant about wanting to see more stories with Princess Leia, including during a recent interview with Collider, where she mentioned wanting to portray a teenage Leia. Leia was only 19 years old in the first Star Wars movie, so Blair's suggestion would come close to Fisher's original appearance as the character. I'd like to see more of Leia, too. But especially in the New Republic era. To an extent, I believe fear is holding Lucasfilm back from recasting Leia's character, and not just because of Fisher's legacy and what she meant to so many Star Wars fans worldwide. In the wake of Solo, A Star Wars Story's relative box office failure, in which Alden Ehrenreich portrayed a younger version of Han Solo, there was a significant amount of backlash, much of it relating to Ehrenreich's portrayal of the character. This was wholly undeserved, in my opinion, as I felt the essence of the character came across well, though others clearly felt differently. Since then, Lucasfilm has done everything in its power to avoid recasting iconic legacy characters, including circumventing Leia's involvement in the New Republic storyline and using new CGI techniques to create a close but at times uncanny version of Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian era. Is that genuinely a better alternative than simply allowing someone new to step into the role, someone who will respect what came before but bring audiences something fresh, too? I'm not convinced. Andor Season 2 just proved Star Wars has gotten over its fear of recasts. Interestingly, Andor Season 2 of May have just changed the game. In Andor Season 2's second episode block, viewers will undoubtedly have been surprised to see Benjamin Bratt portray Senator Bail Organa, Leia's father and another essential leader of the Rebel Alliance. As showrunner Tony Gilroy explained, Jimmy Smits, who has portrayed Bail since Star Wars, Episode II, Attack of the Clones, was unavailable due to scheduling conflicts. Bratt taking on the role was a shock, to be sure, but it was also a welcome one. In a way, Jimmy Smits will always be Bail Organa, and he could still return to the role in the future. But Andy's bold decision to hire another actor for the part rather than change the story they were trying to tell to accommodate Smits' limited schedule is, frankly, a refreshing approach. It's an approach Star Wars should adopt more often. It's possible to honor the performances and the cultural impact of those who came before when recasting a character. It doesn't take away from what they accomplished and what they represented. I'd argue that ignoring Leia's presence in the New Republic era would be a disservice to the personality Fisher worked so hard to create. Ahsoka Season 2 is the perfect place to show audiences a new side of such an iconic, lasting character.